Hoje, na TV Judaica em Foco, nós temos a honra de conversar com Elkana, capitão da unidade de elite 551 das Forças Armadas de Israel. A unidade dele fica na linha de frente das operações especiais, cuidando da limpeza e da segurança nas zonas de combate. Ele serviu o exército por 200 dias e foi o primeiro soldado a ser chamado em 7 de outubro. Além disso, durante o seu serviço militar, Elkana publicou um livro que foi lançado em Israel e nos Estados Unidos e tem dado palestras internacionais sobre a sua experiência.
פסל תקין בעוד 7, 4, 2, 1, פיצוץ. נחמן צעק פקודת הסתערות וכניסה ללחימה. כולנו רצים קדימה במוכנות לסרוק ולכבוש את הבניין. פתאום אני קולט 20 לוחמים רצים באטרף לכיוונים, מבט של פחד בעיניים. איפה? איפה המטען? איפה הפצועים? שמי אלקנה כהן, שירתתי כמפקד צוות לוחמים ביחידת דובדבן. במלחמת חרבות ברזל לחמתי תחת חטיבה 551. מספר אישי, 7 באוקטובר 23. זהו יומן בו כתבתי ותיעדתי את כל החוויות, הקרבות, הלוחמים והחברים שנפלו מהיום הראשון ללחימה ועד היציאה מעזה. אני מזמין אתכם לבוא אחריי, ללכת בעקבות הלוחמים בעזה, לראות איך דור הטיק-טוק הופך לדור הניצחון.
Elkana, é um prazer estar aqui com você e saber um pouco mais sobre a guerra em Gaza, sobre o seu livro e a sua experiência durante a guerra. Mas primeiro de tudo, eu gostaria que você começasse se apresentando para os nossos telespectadores.
So first of all, thank you for having me. It's a privilege to participate in your show. So as I just mentioned, my name is Elkana. I live in Ra'anana. I'm 28 years old, married to Shiran, and a father of Eitan Yitzchak, which he is the cutest child, Baruch Hashem, that I just love him. I'm currently learning my executive MBA. I'm also real estate appraiser, and on my reserve, I'm a captain. I have different position as a combat and also in charging of the recruits to the commander. But we're here to talk probably on October 7 and all the experience that I had. So during that since October 7, basically, I was deployed in the 551st Brigade, which is Reserve Commando Brigade. This is a little bit about myself.
Capitão Elkana, você foi dos primeiros a serem chamados no dia 7 de outubro. Como foi receber essa convocação e ter que deixar sua família para retornar ao combate?
Yeah, it's a good question, but to be honest, it wasn't just a call. 5:30 in the morning was hour before everything actually started. My wife woke me up. She was terrified. She told me that she had a nightmare, and in her nightmare, hundreds of terrorists were chasing us, and I couldn't use my gun in order to defend ourselves. I just hugged her. I told her, Shiran, don't worry, nothing will happen, and we both went back to sleep. But then an hour later, I was waking up from the siren and the Iron Dome system that was activated. And I felt that something is going on, but I went back to sleep. 30 minutes later, something with the combination between Shiran's nightmare and the Iron Dome system and everything made me realize that something serious going on, and I decided to run into my house. I was sleeping that time at my in-laws. So I ran into my house, opened my phone, called my commander in order to understand what's going on, and he told me to prepare my stuff, to get ready, and that something's bad going on right now in the south. But not only that, another friend of mine called me just 2 minutes later and told me that not only me, but also my wife, Shiran, got called up as well. I met my wife during my active service. I used to be a team officer in the Duvdevan unit, and she also participated. She also was part of my unit. So both of us got called up. I packed my stuff. I took her, and then we both drove into our base in the middle of Chag, in the middle of Shabbat, because we knew that we're dealing with something serious. We didn't know exactly what's going on, but this is where I just find out and I understood that we have to leave everything and going to defend our country.
Sua unidade, a 551, tem papel essencial nas operações especiais, que Que tipo de missões vocês executam e quais foram as principais operações nesses 200 dias de serviço?
So we had lots of main operation. Each one of them, our goal was basically to destroy Hamas, to bring back our brother and sister, and to make sure that nothing like that will ever happen again. And we had many things that we went through. We were able to rescue, unfortunately, they were dead, but 5 hostages to bring their body to proper bury. But you asked me what was our main thing, and I think I want to share something, some experience that I had that I think demonstrate better than anything the difference between Hamas, the people that live in Gaza, and the IDF and the State of Israel. One of the time we were needed to conquer a school. We knew that that school was full with civilians, but we also knew that that school was full with terror infrastructure. So we start calling them all out, but no one left the area, no one left the school. So we used our drone to scan that school from above, and then we saw that there is Hamas guards inside that school that didn't let those civilians to leave the area. But more than that, one of the kids there, it seems like a 5-year-old kid from the drone, tried to run away and escape. And then one of the Hamas guards took his AK-47 and shot this little kid. Shot this little kid from his own people, because he knew that as long as those civilians are inside that school, we will not start to conquer that school. So in that point, we understood that we have to kill those guards, not only for our sake, but also for those civilians' sake. But then one of the Hamas guards went on the rooftop, and you won't believe it. He was holding a baby just in front of us. He knew exactly where we were. We were 300 meters away. He was standing on top of the roof, holding the baby over the roof, because he knew that if we're going to kill him, the baby will fall off the roof. And behind them was a guy that were holding a camera and just waited for us to take that shot in order to take a video of that. Well, in that time, we didn't take that shot. He went back, but later on, he went back again on the rooftop. He was surrounded by a group of women. One of them banned a little bit, and it was enough for our sniper to take that shot and to kill this guard. But I'm sharing that because I want people to understand who we're dealing with. While we fighting out of love to all of our people that kidnap, and to make sure that nothing like that will ever happen again, they're fighting out of hatred, out of pure hatred against our people, out of pure hatred against the West civilization values.
É uma situação difícil, mas defender seu país é uma atitude brilhante. Falando sobre a guerra, como você e seu time se preparam, tanto fisicamente como emocionalmente, para lidar com situações como essas?
I think you never get prepared for that. No one is. But slowly you get to know your enemy and the cruelty of our enemy, but you never get used to it. Every time it's heartbreaking. Even right now, just before we were starting this interview, I was watching the speech of Yarden Bibas on his family, on Shiri, Kfir, and Ariel, and I was just shattered. Every time when you see and you heard all of that thing that happened to our people, it's too painful. Also in the world, it was too painful, but we knew that we have to move on. We have to do what we do because we're doing out of love, and we do it in order to defend our people. And I think this is my main message. The world needs to know what are we doing, because back then in this situation of the kid on the rooftop, he knew that the terrorists knew exactly where we were, and in that time we put our life on the line. We rescue our life because we didn't want to take that shot. They knew exactly where we were. They could have aimed any RPG, any sniper that they had towards us. And again, we're trying to do as best as we can in order to defend any casualties. And yet we see all the people who protest. But to your main question, how you're dealing with that, you just move on. It's too hard, and you never get ready to that.
מדינת ישראל, מורשת של חדשנות, ההייטק, הטכנולוגיה, חברות ישראליות שפיתחו טכנולוגיות עתידיות בחלל, מכונית אוטונומית עתידית, מערכות ניווט, אפליקציות לסלולר. ההייטק הישראלי שמשנה את עולם הרפואה והטכנולוגיה. היתר, סטארט-אפ ושמו בית הלוחם, פרויקט שיקומי ייחודי במינו בעולם של ישראל והעם היהודי למען פצועי צה"ל, אלה ששילמו מחיר כבד על ביטחונה ועצמאותה של מדינת ישראל.
אז מה זה בית הלוחם לפצועים שלנו?
זה נותן לך את הביטחון העצמי, להכיר, להבין, להכיל את המצב שאתה נמצא.
זה זכות גדולה, שאני יודע שיש פה גיבורים אחד-אחד.
לבוא לראות מישהו עם פציעה כמו שלך, והוא במצב הרבה יותר מתקדם ממך, ופתאום לראות מישהו כזה, שהוא הולך, והוא הכי רגיל בעולם. כשאתה שוכב במיטה ואתה לא יכול לזוז, אז הדברים האלה רק מחזקים אותך, והכוח שבית הלוחם נתן לי בזכות הדברים האלה, זה רק גרם לי להשתקם ולהגיע למצב האופטימלי שלי הכי מהר שאפשר. והם נתנו לי כל כך הרבה כלים לעשות את זה.
במדריד הגעתי מקום שלישי, ובברזיל הגעתי מקום ראשון. ארגון נכי צה"ל תמך בי מהרגע שהחלטתי להיות ספורטאי פארה-אולימפי. תחושה אדירה, לעלות עם דגל ישראל על פודיום, כיף גדול.
Acontecendo em Gaza agora? Porque eu vejo as notícias, mas como realmente está em Gaza?
It's a good question, because since I went out of Gaza, I decided to put all my reserves aside to be focused on my family, on my business, because unfortunately we all stopped our life on October 7, and I was needed to shut down my business. So when I have the opportunity to live a normal life, this is what I'm doing. I'm trying to not be connected to news, not to do anything, because it's too much to process. It's too much to deal with. But right now, I know that going in Gaza, we're trying to do our best to bring our brother and sisters. There is a ceasefire. And I think that right now, the main thing that we should be aware and take care of is to make sure that Hamas not being responsible again for the Gaza Strip, because he will do again and again what he does. And he showed us his attention. They showed us their attention on October 7, and even later, every time when we see them, we understand that they only wish it's to wipe out the state of Israel.
O exército israelense tem uma tradição de forte espírito de fraternidade. Como você descreveria os laços entre os soldados?
Yeah, it's not only people, it's your actually brothers and sisters. I'm not saying that as a cliche. You lived with them, you struggle with them, you go through so much together. And unfortunately, we lost too many good people. Unfortunately, I lost 27 friends through this current war. It's devastating, and it's not easy to understand and to move on from that. But the only thing that allowed me to move on, it's the understanding that what we're doing is the right thing, and we're doing that out of pure love, in order to make sure that nothing like that will ever happen again. And this is what I'm fighting right now, because I really hope that my son would not gonna need to be called into reserve or into active duty. This is why I'm doing it. I'm doing it for my son, for my people, for our country.
Durante esse período, houve momentos difíceis, principalmente quando os reféns não podiam ser resgatados. Como você e a sua equipe lidavam com isso?
In the battlefield, you work as a machine most of the time. You don't have the privilege to think so much. You just do what you do because you need to do it, and you try to separate your emotion from what you do, because sometimes, you see the terrorists, you're very angry, but you put it aside and you're being professional and you do what you need to do. Sometimes it's mean that you need to kill him. Sometimes it's mean that you need to interrogate them in order to get more information about our hostages. But we try to do as much as we can.
E no reverso, quando grupo de reféns era resgatado, como era a reação entre os soldados?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's unbelievable. I think it's not only soldiers, it's our entire nation. You can see people crying from all over the world because you basically understand that they came out of the deads. And it's amazing. It's unbelievable. But unfortunately, we're going through very sad to joyful moment. We just heard that the Bibas were died, but then we had the opportunity to bring back our brothers alive. So it's always like it's back and forth between joy and peaceful moments into very sad moments.
Você se sentiu como, conseguimos?
Yeah, definitely.
Falando sobre seu livro, o que te inspirou a escrever e falar sobre a sua história e suas experiências em Gaza e em 7 de outubro?
So after 6 days of fighting, which I couldn't communicate with my wife so much, I decided to write a letter to her. And during that time of writing a letter, I understood that we are witnessing to something that the entire world should be aware and understand, to be able to understand what we're going through. But not only that we're going through so many things and so many, that we have so much experience, but I can't even process what we're going through. And during that time of writing that letter to Shiran, to my wife, I understood that I have to do something. And from that day on, I decided to document as much as I could. I was documenting that with a journal that I kept every day. But also one time when we went out of the Gaza Strip, I bought a GoPro and I also start filming and take videos of everything, because I want people that don't understand what we're going through to be able to get into our boots, into our sweat uniforms, and truly understand what does that mean. Not only seeing that, but also feel and understand the emotion that we're going through, the joyful moment, the sad moments, the complex inside the battles, and everything. So from that day on, I decided to keep a journal. And when we went out, some of my friends was asking me, Kuno, this, as I told you how they calling me, can you please read some lines from your journal? And I was reading to them. And then they told me, Kuno, you have to do something with that. It can stay only as a journal for you. So I post something on Facebook and I went to a publishing house, and then I didn't expect that, but it became very, very successful book in Israel. It became bestseller here in Israel. And then people from all over the world, they approached me and told me that they want to be able to read it as well. So I translated it into English, which became also very successful. And it was random, but I had the privilege for that Trump were signing the book. I met him in the United States while I did the lecture tour, and he saw my book and he signed it. So I think that book became very successful, not because it's my story, but because it's a story of our people. It's the story, not only me, of my friends, of my unit, of the soldiers who fought in Gaza. And because of that, a lot of people find themselves inside my pages, inside my journal, because as I mentioned, it's not my journal. I think this is our nation journal.
Falando sobre Gaza, novamente, como vocês faziam para comer lá? Como as bases militares funcionavam?
So it's not a base. You're moving from house to house, which you know that belongs to a terrorist house. Some of the time you get supplies from outside the lines. There is jeeps and tanks. They bring you all the food and the water. And some of the time you just find food in the houses and you start, baking and cooking for yourself. So you mostly relying on the supply, but sometimes you can also find food in the houses, so you use that as well.
Quantos soldados morreram nessa guerra? Você pode nos dizer um número?
I think every soldier had that in his mind. Before we entered the Gaza Strip, I never said that to anyone, but I took a video, I think, of 40 minutes of me crying and talking to my wife and talking to my brother and sister and my family, because we all felt that you might not going to come back from this war. We understood who we're fighting against, and it's not that easy, but it's easier when you understand why you do what you do. And yes, of course, we had some moments when me and my friend, we felt that, but I think our sense of mission to our brother and sister was bigger than our fear. And this is what basically led me to keep fighting and keep do what we do. And not only me, but for all the rest of my friends.
Os seus soldados perderam parentes durante a guerra?
Their parents, no. I have some friends who lost their life, unfortunately. And I have some friends who lost their life. They were murdered on October 7, when their only scent was to dance in a festival music during a holiday. Look, I'm always saying that I do not want to participate in this war. I rather to have a boring life with my family, to be able to have my peaceful time, to take care of my business. Yeah, that's it. Unfortunately, we don't have this opportunity because we saw what Hamas done on October 7 and what all of our neighbors, unfortunately, we're also in a very bad neighbors. All of our neighbors want us dead. So we just need to do it because we need to protect ourselves. But if you were asking me, I'd just rather to sit in my house with my baby and my wife having some peaceful time. Yes. So unfortunately, since October 7, 846 soldiers lost their life, which among them 407 lost their life after October 7, since the starting of the maneuver. I lost friends of mine. I lost not only for my soldiers, but as I told you, I lost 27 friends. Some of them were dying were murdered on October 7. Some of them were dying later.
Be a friend, be a father.
Unfortunately, it's too much. And I want to share another thing. One of my best friends who used to be a roommate of mine during my yeshiva, he also used to serve with me in my unit. His name was Eitan. Eitan was an unbelievable person, amazing person. I truly loved him. I envy his attributes. When I tried to explain my wife who Eitan was, even then she know his name, because as I told you, she also was in my unit, but she wasn't that friend of him back in the days. And I told her, there is some people that you envy their look. You jealous at their money, you jealous and what they've done, what they've accomplished. But I was jealous about Eitan, about his attribute. He was modest. He was an amazing person. And when our son born, we decided to call him Eitan Yitzhak after Eitan, my friend, because I truly want to have the attribute of Eitan, to have his tchunot, his amazing tchunot that he used to have.
amigo é difícil. Perder o Ethan para você deve ter sido difícil. Mas mudando de assunto novamente, falando um pouco sobre o seu livro. Você ministrou algumas palestras nos Estados Unidos sobre o seu livro. Como foi para você fazer essas palestras e ver a repercussão das pessoas se interessando sobre a sua história?
I think it was amazing to see how many people got touched by the lectures and by the story because we heard so many people protest against the IDF. Of course, most of the people that I saw was people who with Israel and supporting Israel, but still it was amazing to see their support, to see how much they care about Israel. And it was very weird to me at the beginning because I didn't understood that my private story, my private journal will become such a public thing. But it was quite unique, and that's it basically. It's allowed me to allow other people to connect into our story, to know my friends that lost their life stories. And I feel this is a bit of I have a bit of sense of mission doing that, to share their story, not only mine.
Quantos meses você teve uma vida normal? Porque você está retornando para Gaza agora. Então, quantos meses você teve uma vida normal?
I really hope to have a normal life because right now, after that I'm hanging up this video with you, I'm going back to reserve, something like a side reserve that I'm also doing. But since October 7, I did over 300 days of reserve. And together with my wife, both of us did over 600 days together. She basically was in reserve until the day of the labor. So I really waiting to have a normal, peaceful life. But right now it seems like it's not getting closer to have that. But this is our life right now. We do what we need to do.
Eu compreendo. No seu lugar, eu também não gostaria de voltar para Gaza, porque são experiências muito horríveis.
Look, I don't want to go back into Gaza. This is not how that I'm going to describe that. I think that we as an IDF, Israel Defense Forces, we need to defend our country. In order to defend our country, we need to make sure that Hamas being destroyed, that everyone who support the killing of my brother and sister, who support the elimination of the state of Israel, will not be able to do it. So in order to do that, we have to fight them.
Israel é o único país onde, em vez de um êxodo, quase 1 milhão de cidadãos retornaram para defender sua pátria. Como você vê esse espírito de união nacional?
I think that we're going through some hard time here. Sometimes we see the unity, sometimes we're not. But I think every soldier who went to fight for his country feel that. And when we felt that, in my unit we have people from all over the stream of Israel. We have left, right, religious, non-religious, Jewish, Christians, Muslims. We have everyone, and still we felt as a one strong fist who fighting to defend our people and to defend our country. And I think we need to bring that spirit to the entire nation, because this is our purpose, to defend our people. Our purpose is to make sure to have a normal, peaceful life. And we're only going to be able to do it by having that spirit, not only among soldiers, but among all of our people.
Você disse que quando você entende por que você está na guerra, você fica mais confortável. Você sente isso voltando para Gaza, certo? Ou você se sente um pouco sobrecarregado?
It's definitely different because several reasons. But let's start with the fact that before October 7, we felt that we are very strong. We have nothing to be aware. We don't have actual threats on the existential of the state of Israel. Before that war, we always had Yom Kippur War and the 6-day war. It was war that we knew that the state of Israel must win, because otherwise Israel, we lost everything. But on October 7th, we thought that everything is fine. And then we finally understood that nothing is fine. And we surrounded by millions of people who want the elimination of Israel, and we need to fight for our people. And it was a shock for us. And I think it was also the biggest tragedy since the Holocaust. 1,200 people were dying that day, were murdered that day, basically, and 251 people were kidnapped into Gaza. And I'm always saying that if I'm putting this in terms of the US, it's mean that 36,000 people were slaughtered and 7,500 people were kidnapped. This is the number equivalent to our population. So I think it's we all need to understand those numbers and how it affects our country.
Você falou sobre o bebê no telhado, mas há outras experiências que você viveu em Gaza que você poderia compartilhar conosco? Porque a gente quer entender o que está acontecendo. Nós não estamos lá, estamos desse lado. Eu estou em outro país, inclusive. O que de fato ocorre lá?
So first of all, I will tell you, go purchase the book. I'm kidding, but to understand, like, this is like the whole journal. But I think we went through a lot, and just one example, it's not only thing that you went through, it's also with you till today. I have lots of friends, for some of them it's very hard to go sleep again. They're screaming, they're yelling through sleeping because they went through a lot. But also me, I had a very hard time going back to routine, going back to normal life. And it's because we always going back and forth. We're going to the reserve, and then we're going back to normal life. So it's not normal. But I just want to share some maybe like funny thing that happened to me. On Gaza, we were used to, every time when we had like garbage and things like that, we didn't want to leave it in our houses. So we were dumping the garbage bag through the windows. But one day after I came into my house, I saw the garbage bag and I threw it through the windows. And then I just figured, oh my God, I was throwing a garbage bag into the middle of the street. I went down.
It's the war spirit.
Pretty bad. but it's coming with you. So yeah.
E para concluir a nossa entrevista, eu gostaria que você dissesse qual a mensagem que você quis passar com o seu livro.
I think I'm going to read it in Hebrew and then in English, but let's see, where is it? All right. So I'm going to show you the book in English, and then I'm going to read the last sentence in Hebrew and in English. So the last sentence in Hebrew, I will read it first. ועכשיו יש משימה חדשה. לא משימה שנחמן מכריז עליה, אלא משימה שכל אחד מאיתנו מרגיש עמוק בעצמות, אחדות בעם. And I'll read it in English from the English version. And now there is a new mission. Not a mission announced by Nachman, but a mission that each one of us feel deep in our bones. Unity among the people. I think this is our main message. And in order to go and win this war, we have to do it. But I'm very positive. I'm very positive about our future. The only question is how it will be until we're going to get into to solve this problem, to win this war, to bring back our brother and sister. But the future is bright. The future is good. And I know that, and we're praying for that. But I have very strong feeling that soon, Be'ezrat Hashem, we're going to hear only good news that we're waiting for.
Capitão, obrigada pelo seu tempo. Eu desejo sorte e força no campo de batalha. Seu trabalho é um trabalho inspirador, com muito amor e compaixão pelo seu país, seus irmãos e irmãs, que eu não vou chamá-los mais como soldados, mas sim como seus irmãos e irmãs. Então nós desejamos sorte e força. Muito obrigada pelo seu tempo e por compartilhar suas experiências conosco. É muito bom saber o que de fato está acontecendo em Gaza pelos olhos daquele que viveu. E eu com certeza vou ler o seu livro. Muito obrigada, Capitão.
Thank you for that. It's mean a lot. And as I mentioned before, maybe it's my book, but it's not really my book. It's the book of my friends. It's the journal of the story of our people. And this is why I'm trying so hard to let people understand what we went through. So thank you for the opportunity. Thank you very much again. And
Capitão, muitíssimo obrigada pelo seu tempo e por conversar com a gente e fazer um trabalho de tanta inspiração. A gente agradece por conhecer um pouco mais do que aconteceu em Gaza, saber um pouco mais da sua história e desejamos a você sorte e força. Muito obrigada. E para você que gostou dessa entrevista e deseja continuar acompanhando TV Judaica, baixe o nosso aplicativo no seu smartphone ou na sua Smart TV. Afinal, nós somos uma emissora de streaming e você pode ter acesso aos nossos conteúdos 24 horas por dia, aonde quer que você esteja. Nos acompanhe também nas redes sociais, dê a sua sugestão, traga temas para que a gente possa trazer para você e para que vocês saibam ainda mais sobre a comunidade judaica. A gente se vê num próximo TV Judaica em Foco. Até logo!